This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted, as always, to be joined by legendary ring announcer Mr. Michael Buffett. We're here at the Regis Prograis Josh Taylor undercard press conference, or main event press conference. I think they've been switching them around.
Yeah, I think it's the main event.
Co-main event press conference, we'll call that. We'll keep everybody happy. How are you, Michael?
I'm well, thanks. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Talk to me about the fight. Regis Prograis versus Josh Taylor for the IBF, the WBA, the Ring Magazine, and of course the Ali Trophy.
Yeah, the important thing is we have two of the best fighters at 140 pounds in the ring, and I think everybody that follows boxing, whether they're a fan or in the business, knows how difficult that is because of different promoters, different networks, and all that. And this is for the WBSS World Boxing Super Series Ali Trophy that was behind me a few minutes ago, and very prestigious contest. And I think it's going to have a big crowd and a big viewing audience. It's the type of fight everybody wants to see. Somebody's always got to go, two undefeated world champions in the ring at the same time.
Obviously, Josh Taylor is somebody who's very well known on these parts. I think Regis Prograis is well known in America, but some of the British boxing fans maybe aren't as familiar with him. Yeah. What could you tell us about Regis Prograis that potentially our viewers may not already know from an American point of view?
Yeah, I think from what everybody could just see at the press conference, he has a ton of self-confidence, which is good. He's going to have to bring it to the ring and be very focused. While they're going to weigh in at the same, we can see that Josh is physically the taller fighter with the greater reach, and is going to be in front of an overwhelming amount of fan favorites, and it's going to be a really interesting fight. And the O2 is just going to be jumping.
Now, I know somebody whose fights you've called an awful lot in the last few years is Derek Chisora, always in fan-friendly fights, should we say. Is in another one with David Price this Saturday.
Yeah, Pricey and Chisora. This is, as a fan and as somebody over the last 5 years, especially coming here so often, has gotten to know both of them. And it's just one of those nights where at the end of the night, like many, many fans in the arena and those watching, they like both guys. And you're going to be sad and you're going to be ecstatic in the same night. And you just hope nobody gets hurt, and may the best man win. But just two fan favorites there.
You mentioned nobody being hurt. Of course, we're still very much in the immediate aftermath of Patrick Day tragically losing his life. You've been around the sport for a number of years. Just your thoughts on kind of every time a tragedy like this happens, and it's unfortunately happened several times really this year, people do look at ways to improve safety in the sport. What are your kind of thoughts on that moving forward?
Yeah, we always have to do our best to improve safety when we see things. I don't think there was anything that happened in this particular tragedy that you can say, it was the fault of, a referee or a timekeeper making the round go too long. Just some crazy things that happened through the years. But a tragedy, without a doubt. It's a sport that we love, and it really is an example of the dynamic that makes it a compelling sport. You don't want to see those things happen. We're involved. Everyone in the sport, the boxing community, is involved with as much safety factors as possible. And like everyone else, I'm just gutted over it. We can just honor his memory by going on and committing ourselves to making the sport as good as possible in his honor.
It's very well said. Just finally, before I let you go, something I actually spoke to you about the last time we did an interview. Following on from yesterday's announcement that Devin Haney has now been upgraded to WBC full champion. We have another franchise champion in the sport now in the form of Vasyl Lomachenko. What are your thoughts on the whole franchise champion situation? I know we've spoken in the past about there being an awful lot of belts in boxing and not enough champions. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, first of all, this is the first time I heard that. Okay. And I'm very excited. He's been elevated to the full, WBC status as lightweight champion. Wow. He is an awesome fighter, a really, really compelling talent. And it's going to be very exciting to see him as a defending world champion now. 20 years old, almost 21 if not turned already. And wow, I'm blown away by that. When it comes to belts, yeah, too many belts. I'm waiting for somebody to have the tea belt and the coffee belt, and it's a plethora of championship belts. We don't need that. I can appreciate the commissions wanting to capitalize on it. I understand it, but let's not overdo the business aspect of trying to collect those 3% commissions from everybody's purse. What I really don't like as a fan is that a fighter can't fight his way to the top and become a mandatory or a number one without, being, he's undefeated and he's got all these victories over top opponents, and then he has to fight for a number one versus number two or whoever who's available to get a mandatory shot when he's sitting there at the people's choice and everyone's choice for number one, whatever division it might be in. I can't stand that. You want to hear a rags to riches fight your way to the top story without a guy having to be connected with the right promoter and being at the right place at the right time, with a paycheck.
I mean, you've been as close to anybody, or closer than anybody, when those fabled 3 words get announced, and the new. How much of a miss or a shame is it for somebody like Devin Haney, who has been upgraded to champion, but he's not had that and the new in the ring? I know you'll understand what I'm trying to say there.
No, I understand perfectly. Years ago when Riddick Bowe defeated Evander Holyfield in the first of their 3 fights, he told me, and then he would repeat it a lot for the press, that the most exciting thing that he ever heard in the ring was when I said, "and new heavyweight champion of the world." And I feel the same way. When I get a chance to do that, even in the same way as say, and still, a heavyweight champion or a welterweight champion, whatever the case may be, it's really exciting. And it's something in a close fight as an announcer, when you get that moment, if it's a split decision or a majority decision or a really close score, you get to pause and turn that whole arena or stadium into a cathedral. And and just feel that explosion of sound and seeing the emotion in the ring and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's an exciting moment. So, yeah, Devin didn't get to experience that, but I think he's going to experience the and still moments.
Well, we wait to see that. Michael Buffer, always a pleasure. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Always appreciate your time. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
Cheers. Good to see you again.